many of you are still recovering from the hurricane, and so I want to thank all of you for being here to talk about this incredibly important issue, even though it's a tough day to be out and do it. And I want to thank 10 Cities. They're terrific. I think I should just sit down and let them keep on playing. You guys are great. And I love that we're able to come here in front of Independence Hall to talk about this, because what those men said in Independence Hall was that we have inalienable rights that are given to us by our Creator. That to preserve those rights, governments were instituted among men, deriving their powers from the consent of the governed. Well, we're here today to say that we do not consent. This is a law that we cannot agree with, that we cannot consent to. This is a law that is contrary to what our country is all about, because this is a law that takes away our most precious right, our religious freedom. This mandate is not only a bad law, it's not only contrary to our founding principles, it's contrary to our Constitution, to our laws protecting religious freedom, and that's why we're confident that courts are going to strike it down. This mandate is not only hurting our laws, it's hurting individuals, it's hurting individual women, it's hurting individual families. It's hurting women like Mother Angelica. Mother Angelica, as many of you know, was very popular for her writings, for the tapes she put out, being able to share and spread her Catholic faith. And more people wanted to hear from her and hear her message. And so in 1981, she set up a small TV studio in a garage in Alabama. And from those humble beginnings grew EWTN, the world's largest Catholic media network. Today they broadcast 24 hours a day on cable, on the internet, on radio stations. They reach something like 200 million homes in nations around the world, all from what started by one woman in that little bitty garage. That's a great American story about how one person can speak out and share her message and share her faith. And it's a great story of faith too. But what does our government say today to Mother Angelica? What does our president say to EWTN? They say, well, it's okay. You can share your message on Tuesday. You can get up there on your television station and on radio and on the internet, and you can share the Catholic Church's teachings about contraception and abortion causing drugs. But on Wednesday you better get out your checkbook, because you're going to be the one paying the bill for those very things you're teaching against. And so this mandate hurts organizations like EWTN. It hurts women like Mother Angelica, who only want to be able to share their faith, who only want to be able to practice the same things that they are teaching. This mandate hurts families. It hurts families like the Green family in Oklahoma. A number of years ago, David Green and his wife Barbara and their 3 kids did something that many Americans do. They started their own business. They started making little picture frames again in a garage with a $600 bank loan, and those sold well, and so they made more frames, and those sold well, and so they opened up a little store. And David ran the store, and Barbara worked in the back shipping out their products, and their kids worked at the kitchen table gluing the frames together in exchange for money to buy baseball cards. And the store did well, so they moved up and built a bigger store, and then that one did well, and they built a second one and a third, and today Hobby Lobby is one of the nation's largest retail chains with over 500 stores in 41 states. And it's still run by the Green family, David and Barbara and their 3 children. But Hobby Lobby is under attack today from this same mandate. If you go into a Hobby Lobby store, you'll see that the Greens' faith is apparent in everything that they do. The store won't be open on Sunday because they believe in a day of rest. It won't be open late because they want their employees to be able to go home and spend the evenings with their families. They provide good wages and good health care for their employees. But our government is coming to them and telling them, no, that's not enough. The fact that you are creating jobs in a bad economy is not enough. The fact that you're paying your employees 80% above minimum wage, well, that's not enough. What you need to do is change the one thing that we don't like in your health plan. You need to start paying for abortion-causing drugs. You need to start paying for emergency contraception. You need to start violating your faith. And on January 1st, if Hobby Lobby doesn't comply, if Hobby Lobby keeps the exact same insurance plan that they have today, they're going to have to pay $1.3 million a day in fines. That's what our government is doing to job creators. That's what our government is doing to family businesses. On Thursday, some of my colleagues were down in Oklahoma City arguing for Hobby Lobby. At the Beckett Fund, we're proud to represent Hobby Lobby. We're proud to represent EWTN in their fights against this unjust mandate. And when they went down to Oklahoma City on Thursday, a government lawyer paid with your tax dollars got up there and said something really disturbing. What she said, and what they argued, was that when you go into business, you don't even have the right to come to court and argue for your First Amendment freedoms. If you want to open a business, if you want to create jobs, if you want to help other Americans feed their families and provide for their families too, well, that's too bad. You've given up your right to religious freedom because you've gone into business, and so you can't even make that claim. You have to comply. Well, we're here to say that we're not going to comply. And we're here today to say that that's not what our nation is all about. That we don't give up our religious freedom just because we have jobs or open a business. That we don't give up our religious freedom just because we take to the airwaves to teach about it. That's not what this nation is about. That's not the principles that we were founded on in this very spot. Your voices are being heard. 5 months ago, I was here, and many of you were here too, and we said we will not comply. We will not stand for this mandate. 5 months later, I'm sorry to say it's still here, but your voices are being heard. Since then, 2 courts have struck down this mandate. 2 courts have gone in, one in Colorado and one just this past week in Michigan, have gone in to protect individual business owners, to say, you know what, your religious freedom is more important than this law, and so we're going to protect you. And we are confident that those are just the first 2 of many, that our courts will continue to protect businesses, to protect religious colleges and universities, to protect Americans who will not comply. We're confident of that, and we're confident that your voices will be heard. And that's why it's so important that we continue to have these rallies, we continue to speak up, and we continue to let our government know that we will not allow this violation of our religious freedom to continue. So I want to thank you all for coming here today. I want to thank you for being willing to brave the cold weather and power outages and everything else to talk about this incredibly important issue. And I want to thank you for raising your voices to let our elected officials and our government know that this is a violation of our religious freedom and that it cannot continue. Thank you. God bless you for being here, and God bless our country.